You won't believe what she did. In the middle of court, right when she realized she was losing, she clutched her chest and collapsed like she was on some soap opera. But the judge didn't buy it for a second. Oh no. He saw right through her act, and what happened next was brutal. It started months before, with the homeowners association meetings that had already turned toxic. Karen, yes, the self-appointed queen of the cul-de-sac, was standing there with her binder full of violations. Her lips pursed so tightly it looked like she was tasting lemons. This community is going downhill because of people like him, she hissed, jabbing her finger toward Mark, my neighbor, who just sat there rubbing his temples. The room was tense. I could hear the faint buzz of the fluorescent lights above, the scraping of a chair as someone shifted uncomfortably, even the sharp sigh of another homeowner who had clearly had enough. Mark finally snapped. Karen, for God's sake, these Christmas lights. I took them down in January like the rules say. But Karen shook her head dramatically, curls bouncing. Not true. I have photos. Photos of your lights still up on January 2nd. That's a violation. Rules are rules. You could feel the air crackle, people muttering under their breath, a soft laugh escaping from the back row. Karen whipped around like a hawk spotting prey. What's funny? You think it's funny when someone drags this neighborhood down? Her voice pitched high, shrill and almost theatrical. That's the thing about her. She thrived on conflict, on spectacle. She'd scold teenagers for skateboarding, bark at delivery drivers for parking too close to her mailbox, even once screamed at a mother because her toddler spilled juice on the sidewalk. It was relentless. And then she went too far. Mark, patient as he was, finally sued her for harassment after she started filing false complaints, claiming his dog was aggressive, that he was building illegal structures in his yard, even that he was running a business from his garage just because he worked on his car. He'd had enough. Court day came and you could almost taste Karen's smugness as she walked in, heels clicking like a drumbeat of arrogance. She wore this oversized pearl necklace, as if she were playing the role of some dignified suburban matriarch. She carried her binder again, thick with evidence, and her eyes darted around, trying to lock with the judge like she was the teacher's pet. The judge, stern, graying hair, glasses perched low, glanced at the clock and sighed. He'd seen this before. Let's begin, he said flatly. Mark's lawyer wasted no time. Calm, precise. He dismantled Karen's accusations one by one. This photo she submitted, Your Honor. Timestamp shows January 1st, 11:58 p.m. Still within the permitted holiday period. Flip. This claim about a dangerous dog. Animal control visited. Found nothing. Report closed. Flip. This illegal structure is a garden trellis. Under regulation size. Compliant. Each flip of that binder was like the sound of a nail being hammered into Karen's case. You could see her shifting, her cheeks growing redder by the second. And then, the twist that knocked the wind out of her. Mark's lawyer presented his evidence. A series of letters Karen had slipped into his mailbox, and signed but written in the same loopy cursive she used for homeowners association notes. Letters calling him a disgrace, threatening you'll regret staying in this neighborhood. And even one that said, the board belongs to me. Gasps filled the courtroom. Someone actually whispered, Oh my God. Karen shot up from her seat, pointing a trembling finger. That's not mine. That's forged. But then Mark's lawyer pulled out the kicker. Homeowners Association meeting minutes signed by Karen herself, side by side with the letters. Identical handwriting. Identical ink. The silence in the room was deafening except for the quiet creak of Karen lowering herself back down. Face pale. The judge leaned forward, steepling his fingers. Mrs. Thompson, care to explain? And that's when it happened. Karen clutched her chest, staggered and with this dramatic gasp, fell sideways, Oh, my heart. She slumped, eyes fluttering shut, as if she were auditioning for a medical drama. The courtroom froze. Mark blinked. Someone gasped. A bailiff stepped forward uncertainly. And Karen, still lying there, peeked one eye open just enough to see if people were watching. The judge didn't even move. He tapped his pen against the desk once, twice, and said, with cutting clarity, "Mrs. Thompson, if you're going to fake a medical emergency, I advise you to at least close both eyes." The entire courtroom burst. Some laughed outright. Others covered their mouths in shock. Karen shot up, sputtering, I wasn't. This is serious." But it was over. The judge's face hardened. Enough theatrics. I've seen defendants pull stunts. But this is insulting to the court. Sit down. His gavel cracked like thunder. Karen's facade crumbled. She tried to recover, dabbing at her forehead with a tissue, mumbling something about her blood pressure. But the damage was done. And then came the verdict. A heavy fine for harassment. Court costs piled on top, and a stern warning that any further false claims could result in criminal charges. "This community is not your stage," the judge said, words echoing in the silent room. You could almost hear the collective exhale. Relief, vindication, even a bit of pity, for someone who had dug her own grave and then tried to play dead inside it. As we all walked out, I remember Mark shaking his head, muttering, "Unbelievable. She really thought she could act her way out of this." But here's the twist nobody saw coming. A week later, Karen tried to rally sympathy by telling neighbors she'd had a near-death experience in court. She even wore a heart monitor sticker for show, though the wires weren't connected to anything. People used to shrink under her glare. But now, they saw the wires dangling, the sticker peeling, and they laughed. Quietly at first, then openly. Her power was gone. That's karma, isn't it? She tried to manipulate, to twist reality into her control, and instead, she ended up exposing herself as the fraud everyone suspected she was. Still, part of me wondered if she ever lay awake at night, staring at the ceiling, hearing the judge's voice echo, "This community is not your stage." Did she finally realize the truth? Or did she just plan her next act? Either way, the curtain had come down. And for once, finally, the audience wasn't on her side. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable homeowners association drama stories. I didn't even make it halfway down the block when I saw her already standing there, arms crossed, mouth tight, nostrils flaring like a bull ready to charge. "Again," I muttered under my breath, stomach nodding. "What now?" Karen, the self-appointed queen of our HOA, she wasn't on the board. Hell, no one had elected her to anything, but that didn't stop her from acting like she ran the entire neighborhood. You could barely sneeze without her stepping out of her porch to document it. But today was different, because this time she accused me of vandalism. I'm not kidding. She came marching up my driveway like she had a badge and backup, waving her phone in the air like it was some kind of evidence. "You scratched my car, Marcus," she barked. "Don't even try to deny it. I saw you on my Ring camera." I blinked. "What the hell are you talking about?" She shoved her phone into my face, showing a blurry figure walking past her driveway. Could have been anyone. The quality looked like it came from a potato. "You think this proves something?" I said, backing up. "That's not even. It's you," she snapped. "You've had it out for me ever since I called the city about your garbage cans being out after 10 a.m. I laughed. "Lady, I don't even care about you." That was the wrong thing to say. Her eyes went wide. Her mouth gaped like she just witnessed a murder. And she stormed off yelling something about taking it to the board. I stood there, heart pounding, my hands clenching into fists. I should have walked away, should have gone inside. But no, my pride had teeth and it was biting back. Later that night, I got an email from the HOA subject line, "Vandalism incident under review." I nearly choked on my beer. She actually filed a complaint. Officially. Claimed I keyed her car, and even worse said I was a threat to community safety. What the hell? I paced in my kitchen for an hour. Who does this woman think she is? And the worst part? I knew I didn't do it. I was working from home that day. I had receipts. I had phone logs. But that didn't matter, not when the HOA was stacked with her old golf buddies and bridge club friends. But here's where it gets good. Because 2 days later I finally checked my security cameras. Yeah, I've got one facing my driveway and another pointing toward the street. I hadn't looked because I didn't think I needed to, but something was nagging at me, so I queued it up. Rewound to the night before her accusation. And there she was. 1:13 a.m., the streetlight barely catching the gleam of her silver Lexus pulling up quietly, no headlights. She parked right across from my house, got out, and me heart dropped. She walked right up to my car. I hit pause. What the hell was she doing? I hit play. She crouched down, reached into her coat, pulled out what looked like my go-to Slim Jim. You know, those lockout tools cops use? She slid it between my window and door. I sat there frozen, watching this woman, the same woman who accosted me in my driveway, try to break into my car. She didn't get in, thank God. But she messed with the lock for nearly 5 minutes before walking back to her car and peeling off. I was shaking. My mouth went dry. Oh, Karen, you messed up. I saved the footage, made copies, even emailed it to myself twice. The next morning, I printed stills and drafted a letter. Not just to the HOA board but to the police department. I could barely contain myself as I walked into the HOA's next monthly meeting. Karen was already there, of course, front row, smug smile, acting like she just won a lifetime supply of control. She didn't see me come in. Not at first. But when the president called my name and asked me to address the board, she turned around slowly like a snake sensing something behind her. I walked up, calm, measured, and then I handed over the USB drive. Before I respond to the allegation, I said, loud enough for every nosy neighbor to hear, I'd like to submit footage from my security cameras. I believe it might clarify who the real vandal is. Karen blinked. What? What footage? What is this? The president raised a brow, plugged it in. The video started playing on the shared screen they used for budgets and PowerPoint slides. The room went dead silent. There she was, clear as day, wearing a red windbreaker with HOA volunteer patrol, stitched on the back like some kind of bootleg cop. The moment the screen showed her jamming the Slim Jim into my car door, a neighbor gasped. Someone else muttered, "Oh my God." Karen turned white. "That's not what it looks like," she stammered. Two dropped my keys. I was checking to see if someone else left their car unlocked. "Bull," I said, my voice flat. "You accused me of vandalism, tried to drag my name through the mud, and now everyone sees who the real criminal is." She stood there, stuttering. Her mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. The HOA president looked genuinely. "Karen, this is serious. You broke into a resident's vehicle." Then came the knock on the door. 2 police officers, one of them holding a printed copy of the footage I emailed to their department. "Karen Monroe?" one asked. "You're being detained for attempted vehicle burglary and filing a false police report." The room went dead quiet. Karen tried to protest, tried to spin it. No, this is a mistake. 2M part of the HOA, I protect this neighborhood. But they cuffed her right there in front of everyone. And the sound of those metal cuffs clicking around her wrists, it was better than a standing ovation. I let out a slow breath. My hands were still shaking. But my God, it was finally over. Or so I thought. Because just when I believed she couldn't sink, any low-era certified letter showed up at my door. From her lawyer. I nearly spit out my coffee when I saw the return address, some low-rent legal office off the freeway. Inside, a cease and desist claiming I had defamed her by showing the video publicly. You have got to be kidding me. This woman who tried to break into my car, who accused me of vandalism, who got arrested on camera, was now trying to play victim? I laughed. Like an actual out loud, head thrown back laugh. Then I called my buddy Sam's, a civil defense attorney and one of the best I know. He looked at the letter, then at me and said, "Tell her to go ahead and file. You've got more grounds for a lawsuit than she ever will." Damn right I do. Turns out, Karen being arrested wasn't even the worst of it for her. A few weeks later, the HOA launched a formal review. They couldn't technically kick her out of the neighborhood, but they could ban her from any position of influence. No patrols. No volunteer committee. No say in HOA matters. That hit her harder than the handcuffs. The cherry on top. Multiple neighbors came forward after the footage dropped, admitting they'd also seen Karen acting shady. One said their car had been mysteriously scratched months ago. Another swore they saw her sneaking around their backyard with a flashlight late at night. So yeah, Karen's little power trip days? Over. And as for her lawsuit threat, I filed a counterclaim for harassment and malicious prosecution. Let's just say the tables aren't just turned. They flipped, spun, and crushed her like a falling grand piano. You think people like Karen get away with everything forever? Nah. Eventually, the truth claws its way out, and when it does, it bites hard. So next time your HOA Karen tries to come for you with false accusations and fake smiles, keep your head up, your camera rolling, and your receipts ready, because karma might just show up wearing a badge. And hey, if you loved that wild ride of justice, hit subscribe on my YouTube channel. We're just getting started with more real stories and HOA takedowns. You couldn't make this up if you tried. Imagine standing in line at a family-owned bakery. Balloons squeaking against the ceiling. The smell of buttercream and sugar in the air. And then a stranger's hand suddenly grabs your birthday cake box like it belongs to her. That's how it started. 3 seconds of pure chaos. A gasp and a woman screaming, "This cake is mine." I froze. What? Your cake? My mind just blanked for a moment, like someone had pressed mute on reality. The box was still warm from the kitchen, heavy with 3 layers of chocolate ganache, the kind of cake my niece had begged for all month. I looked down at the woman clinging to it like she was about to sprint out the door. She had that look. You know the one. Sunglasses perched on her head indoors. Mouth twisted in permanent disapproval. Karen. "Oh no. No. No." I muttered, trying to pull the box back toward me. She yanked harder. The cardboard squealed. "Let go." "Excuse me, ma'am." The cashier stammered, voice trembling. "That cake is already paid for." Karen snapped her head around. "Don't you dare. I ordered this cake last week. This bakery always screws up my orders, and you will not give my cake to some random person." I swear. Everyone in the bakery went silent. Forks clinked on plates. A baby started crying. The ceiling fan hummed louder than usual, like it knew something ugly was about to go down. I clenched my jaw. "Lady, I literally picked this cake out with the baker yesterday. My niece's name is written on the top in pink frosting. You want to explain how it's yours?" Karen's nails dug into the side of the box. Her knuckles were white, veins popping, like she was holding onto a life raft in a storm. "That doesn't prove anything. I'll scrape the name off if I have to." The audacity. Can you believe that? Scrape the name off. My niece was turning 8. She'd practiced blowing out imaginary candles all week, humming the birthday song under her breath. And here was this stranger, ready to rip it all away. A man at a nearby table stood up, his chair screeching against the tile. "Hey, maybe just let the guy take his cake. It's not worth it." Karen shot him a glare so sharp, I swear I felt it slice through the air. "Stay out of this." I felt the box bending in the middle. Buttercream was probably smearing inside. My blood boiled. This wasn't just a cake anymore. It was principle. It was sanity. It was dignity. "Let go." I hissed. She didn't. She doubled down, tugging, jerking, growling under her breath like some territorial guard dog. And that's when I said it. The words that made the whole room gasp. "Ma'am, if you don't let go of this cake right now, I'm calling the police." Her jaw dropped. Her sunglasses nearly slipped off her head. She blinked like I'd just spoken another language. Police. For a cake. Yes. I snapped. Because this isn't just a cake. It's theft. And guess what? Theft is a crime. For 1 second, her grip loosened. But then, oh no, she squeezed tighter. Go ahead. Call them. I'll tell them you attacked me. I'll say you stole my order. My heart raced. My phone was in my pocket, buzzing with texts from my sister, probably asking if I was on my way. I imagined showing up empty-handed, explaining that some entitled stranger had hijacked the party centerpiece. No, absolutely not. I pulled my phone out, thumb hovering over 911, and the room shifted. Everyone leaned forward like it was the climax of some courtroom drama. The baker's assistant whispered, "Do it." Karen's eyes darted around the room. She saw the crowd. She heard the whispers. She realized every single person was staring at her like she was unhinged. Her face flushed beet red, beads of sweat forming at her temples. Then, smack, she dropped the box. Gasps rippled through the bakery. The sound of cardboard hitting the counter echoed like a gavel. My cake was safe. Miraculously safe. Not even dented. But Karen. She backed away, hands trembling, pointing a shaking finger at me. "You people are crazy. I'll never shop here again." The baker finally spoke up, her voice like steel wrapped in sugar. "Good. Don't come back. We don't serve thieves." That was the first twist. Because the very next day, guess who posted a 2-page rant on the neighborhood Facebook group? Yep, Karen. She wrote, "This bakery stole my cake. They sided with some random man and threatened me with police. I've been a loyal customer for years. Boycott them." The comments exploded. Some neighbors actually believed her. Can you believe it? I woke up to tags in the thread. My name dragged through the mud. Accusations of harassment and public humiliation. I rubbed my temples, sighing. Of course, she couldn't just stop. But here's where karma kicked in. Oh, sweet, poetic karma. Because one of the moms in that group, she happened to work at the bakery part-time. And she had the security footage. She dropped it into the comments like a bomb. The entire struggle. Caught in HD, Karen grabbing, yanking, shouting, refusing to let go. My niece's name on the cake clearly visible. The moment I pulled out my phone, the exact second Karen panicked and dropped the box. The thread flipped instantly. People who'd defended her went silent. Others piled on. "You should be ashamed. Imagine stealing a kid's birthday cake." Karen strikes again. Karen tried deleting her rant. Too late. Screenshots were everywhere. And then, oh, this part still makes me laugh. The bakery posted the clip on their Instagram, with the caption, "Protect the cake. Always." It went viral overnight. By the weekend, local news picked it up. Reporters actually said the words, "Cake Snatcher Karen." People tagged me in memes. Someone made a TikTok remix of her shouting, "This is mine," layered over a beat drop. But the bitter ending. Karen's husband showed up at the bakery 2 days later. And what did he say? Not an apology. Not an explanation. He leaned over the counter, his voice low and cold. "You embarrassed my wife. She's been crying nonstop. You'll regret this." The baker didn't flinch. She slid the phone under the counter, screen glowing with the words "Recording in progress." He froze. His eyes flicked to the camera above the register. Then he walked out without another word. And me. I brought that cake to my niece's party. Held it like a trophy. When she blew out her candles, I swear the whole room cheered louder than usual. Not just for her wish, but because the cake had survived a war. Still, I couldn't shake the bitter taste of it all. How far had it gone? Over frosting and cardboard. We'd hit the edge of madness. And Karen, she wasn't defeated, just exposed. Tell me, was it justice? Or just a small taste of it? Because if someone's willing to claw over a birthday cake, what else are they capable of? Thanks for listening, and hey, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more insane real-life stories like this one. I never thought I'd see something like this with my own eyes. A bright summer festival. Music blasting. Kids laughing. People dancing. Suddenly shattered by the roar of an engine and the screams that followed. Who in their right mind does that? Who thinks driving through a crowd is some kind of power move? The answer, sickeningly enough, was the Karen sisters. Two women who strutted around our town like they owned every inch of it. Linda and Marcia. Everyone knew their names, their glares, their constant complaints. Always filing homeowners association reports. Yelling at teens on skateboards. Sneering at families they thought were beneath them. But this was beyond even their usual venom. The festival was our town's pride. Every year, locals set up food stalls. Live bands filled the streets with music. Fire trucks let kids climb up the ladders. Families sprawled out on picnic blankets. It was loud, messy, imperfect, but ours. That day, the air smelled of corn dogs and lemonade. Balloons bobbing above heads. Toddlers clutching cotton candy bigger than their faces. Then came the sound that sliced through everything. An engine revving. Way too close. Way too aggressive. People turned their heads. Confused. And then, bam. The Karen sisters' SUV barreled past the barricades. Horn blaring. Tires screeching. Plowing straight into the street that was meant only for pedestrians. Screams. Bodies diving out of the way. A clarinet squawk cut short. A mother shrieking for her child. And in the driver's seat, Linda's smug face. Marcia in the passenger seat egging her on. They weren't panicking. They weren't lost. They were doing it deliberately. Oh my God. Did they just... Someone gasped behind me. Yes. They did. I felt frozen. Like my brain couldn't catch up with my eyes. And then I saw a stroller flip over as the SUV clipped its side. Thank heaven the baby wasn't inside. It had just been taken out seconds before. A miracle. Really. But the sick laughter that spilled from Marcia's lips. Yes. People heard it. Sharp and cruel over the chaos. Burned itself into everyone's memory. Move. Get out of the way. People screamed, trying to push through the crowd. A man banged his fists on the SUV's hood, shouting, "Stop! Are you insane?" They didn't stop. For 10 seconds. 10 seconds that felt like an eternity. The sisters owned that street. They ran over food stands, crushed folding chairs, dented metal barriers. And then, karma, sudden and brutal, crashed down. Linda swerved too hard to avoid a cluster of teens huddled near the stage. Tires screamed. Rubber burned and the SUV slammed directly into the side of the generator powering the festival lights and sound. Sparks flew. The bass cut off mid-note and smoke poured out. The SUV shuddered. Steam hissing from its hood. They were stuck. The crowd went dead quiet for half a heartbeat. Then the roar erupted. Get them. I'd never seen anything like it. The same people who had been dancing minutes ago surged forward with raw fury. Men yanked open the SUV doors. Women screamed curses into their faces. One guy ripped the keys straight out of the ignition. Marcia tried to shove people away, screeching about lawsuits. Rights. You'll all regret this. But no one was afraid anymore. The sisters weren't in control. Sit down. Don't move. Or I swear. One father shouted, holding them in place until the cops came sprinting through the chaos. By the time sirens wailed, Linda and Marcia were bruised, humiliated, their shrill voices drowned out by the jeers of hundreds of people who had almost been their victims. Lock them up. Someone yelled, "Attempted murder." Another voice bellowed. It was all caught on dozens of phones. Videos spread online before the cops even dragged the sisters away in handcuffs. And here's where the twisted part really comes in. The Karen sisters, instead of feeling shame, doubled down. Can you believe it? They sat in the back of the squad car shouting about how they were the real victims, claiming the festival was too loud, too unregulated, that the crowd threatened them, and they had no choice but to drive through. The audacity was breathtaking. But what they didn't realize, those very videos they sneered at, the evidence of their cruelty, were playing on every local news station within hours. Millions saw Linda grinning as she pressed down on the accelerator. Millions heard Marcia laughing while people screamed. The courtroom was packed weeks later. The sisters strutted in like they were about to win some beauty pageant, wearing matching blazers, smirks plastered on. But as witness after witness stepped forward, parents clutching kids, teenagers still shaking, vendors describing the wreckage, they deflated, little by little. And then came the twist no one saw coming. One of the teens who almost got hit, quiet, skinny, barely 17, pulled out his phone and showed the jury something damning. He had been recording TikToks near the stage and had caught audio seconds before the SUV broke through the barricades. Linda's voice, cold and clear, "Let's show these losers who's in charge." And Marcia's reply, "Floor it. They'll scatter." Gasps tore through the courtroom. Even the judge raised his brows. The sister's lawyer tried to object. But the damage was done. Deliberate. Intentional. No more excuses. From that moment, it was over. The jury came back faster than anyone expected. Guilty on multiple counts of assault with a deadly weapon, reckless endangerment, and attempted murder. The sentencing hit like a hammer. 20 years. 20 years behind bars. The sisters collapsed in tears. Suddenly fragile. Suddenly wailing for mercy. But no one in that courtroom pitied them. The families in the gallery held hands, nodding, some even crying tears of relief. Justice had spoken. And yet, as the bailiffs led Linda and Marcia away, Marcia still screamed over her shoulder, "We'll sue all of you. You'll regret this. You haven't heard the last of us." But the only sound that followed was the heavy clang of the cell door shutting. Looking back, I still feel that knot in my chest. The fear, the rage, the disbelief. It all lives in my bones. Festivals are supposed to be joy, light, community. And those sisters tried to turn it into a nightmare. Tried, but failed. Because in the end, the very town they hated, the very people they mocked, stood up together, captured the truth, and made sure the Karens couldn't twist the story into their usual victim act. Karma didn't just visit. It settled in for the long haul. And sometimes justice really does roar louder than any engine. So, what do you think? Were the Karen sisters punished enough? Or would you have given them more time? Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Wild Homeowners Association and lawsuit stories like this one.